Hello YouTube, Flayed here, and today I'm excited to bring a new series to my channel that we're going to be calling Map Hacking Expeditions. This series is going to go ahead and cover what you can expect in every expedition and what you can do to familiarize yourself with the maps a little bit better with this layout here provided by our homeboy Halo, aka Nightswan. He did an amazing job, and if you want to go ahead and check out any of his YouTube or Twitch, links down in the description below. Halo, you knocked it out of the park, my man. This looks fucking fantastic, and hopefully you guys will learn a lot from these series as well. So today we're going to be starting with Boomtown and what you can expect in Boomtown and each single room that you can progress to in this expedition. So before we begin, let's go ahead and take a look at the header up here, the legend, and see what we can expect. So red dots are marked with ads. These skulls are marked for greater elite. These are going to be like your anomaly sniper captains and your anomaly captains. The lesser elites are going to be your Iron Clads and your Cremators. And then we're going to have possible spawn locations that these elites can spawn, a boss icon if there is a boss in the expedition, and a second wave of elites, which means, after the first wave of elites, second wave of elites will spawn, which we will actually get into room 2 of Boomtown. But let's go ahead and start with room 1 and focus on what we can see here as far as room 1 goes. So depending on your RNG map load, you're going to be having your Cremator here either spawn in location 1 or location 2. Not a huge deal. The same applies for your Anomaly Sniper Captain. You can either spawn in location 1 or location 2. Now, not too much, extra going on in room 1 of Boomtown. The enemies you're going to run into are going to be the Riflemen, the Cutthroats, the Breachers, and then just your regular snipers, along with the Cremator, the Iron Clad, and the Sniper Captain. This is going to be pretty standard throughout the whole map as far as the enemy types. It really just doesn't change. It's a human map completely, so you're going to get those human enemies. Now, that being said, what are we going to do in room 1 of Boomtown? Well, it's pretty simple. Once you load into the map, I suggest you go for the Cremator, and then once you kill the Cremator, go ahead and take care of all the ads in the area, and then progress to this second middle part of the map in the first room. Now, when you look at the map here, you're going to see spawn location 1 and spawn location 2. Now, in Outriders, there are certain ways to proc certain spawns. Sometimes it's RNG, more times than not, it's killing X amount of ads, or, killing X amount of elites with ads, or killing X amount of elite. In this case, to proc this spawn here by the hole is actually going to be determined by the amount of ads you kill in this beginning section. Not sure on the amount of ads, but once you kill enough of the ads, which you'll just do by playing the map in general, is what's going to proc spawn number 1 from this hole, where you're going to have a whole bunch of Riflemen and Cutthroats and Breachers come out. Now, that being said, the second spawn here is going to be controlled by how fast you kill the enemies that come out of the first spawn. Pretty straightforward here. To proc the spawns up here, just kill the enemies that come out of this hole, which you're just going to be doing regardless while you're playing through the map. The biggest thing to worry about in the first room is basically going to be your elites, which is going to be your Cremator, your Ironclad, your Sniper, and of course, always got to keep an eye on the Rifleman. All right, moving to the second room of Boomtown. This is where things get just slightly a little bit more complex, but again, not really once you understand what's going on. So in the second room, you're going to be expected, once you load in, to see a few Riflemen here, but more importantly, you're going to see the Ironclad in the middle, the Anomaly Captain on the right-hand side here, and the Ironclad on the left-hand side here. Now, as far as spawns go in the second room, you're going to have one spawn to the right here, which is the second wave of elites. This is the second wave of the Ironclad. And on the left-hand here, the second wave of elites, which is going to be the second wave of the Captain. Now, we also have spawn points up here, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, how do we trigger the second wave of elites, the Ironclad on the right, and then the Captain on the left? Extremely simple. To trigger the second wave of elites on Boomtown Room 2, we're going to first have to kill the Ironclad in the middle here, the Anomaly Captain on the right here, and the Ironclad on the left, as well as a few ads to trigger spawn for the second wave Ironclad to the right here, and the second wave Captain to the left here. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the exact ad amount, but it's around like 5 to 8 or something like that. So once you kill Ironclad 1, Anomaly Captain 1, and Ironclad 2, and about 5 to 8 ads, you're going to trigger the second wave of elites, the Captain here, and the Ironclad here. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the spawns that are going to be up here. That is going to consist of your 3 Ironclads and your 1 Anomaly Captain. Now, the initial part of this spawn will trigger when you go ahead and trigger the second wave of Elite, the Captain to the left, and the Ironclad to the right. Now, how do we trigger the rest of the spawns, the 2 Ironclads that's left, and the Captain that is also remaining? That is going to be dependent on each Elite you kill after the first Ironclad has spawned, right? So, when the first Ironclad has spawned here, again, as a reminder, it's going to happen when the second wave of Elite to the left and the right spawn. Go ahead and take out any one of these 3 Elites. That's going to proc the Captain spawn. Take out another Elite, whether it's this Captain or this Ironclad, that's going to spawn the second Ironclad that's going to spawn from this location. Now, this spawn is going to happen, in junction with all the little mini adds that spawn, whatever, that's okay. To trigger the final Ironclad spawn, you will have to clear every single other Elite on the map. Otherwise, this Ironclad here will just be chilling, and you're going to be wondering, well, where the fuck is this guy? Well, until you clear every Elite, starting with the second wave of Elite that spawns here, along with the 2 Ironclads and the Captain, that is what is going to finally trigger the last Ironclad to spawn. And sometimes he spawns by himself, and sometimes he'll have like an additional add or 2 with him. That part's a bit RNG. We've never really figured out why that happens, so we just say it's RNG there. Now, the last bit of advice I have when you clear this entire second room is to hold on to that trigger finger while you're activating the door to get to the party room. Because if you make any sort of noise, for example, shooting your gun, you're going to actually alert the riflemen and the breachers that are just chilling in the party room having a good time to come rushing up the stairs to you, which can be a little bit annoying. It's better just to have that element of surprise while they're just chilling there so you can just blast them away. Okay, moving on to Boomtown Room 3A, which is the party room. This room is extremely simple, so we're not going to spend too much time on this one at all. Basically, the party room, you're going to have a whole bunch of enemies in the middle here, and to proc this spawn, which is going to consist of an Anomaly Captain and a Ironclad, all you're going to have to do is kill about half of the adds in this location here. Once you kill about half of the adds, that is when this spawn is going to proc, and then, kill everything in the room. Then boom, you're going to be into the Dr. D fight, which we're going to get into right now. Okay, now we are at the final room for Dr. D, right? This is going to be the Dr. D fight. This is one of the fights that is probably one of the most annoying fights in the game just because of how Dr. D works with his turrets and all of his bullshit. But you may think, Plato, is there anything really special about this last room in Boomtown? We know the drill. Dr. D is going to spawn with his 2 captains. You have your cutthroats here, and then you'll have all of these spawns just, slowly spawning throughout the fight. Well, there is. And this really doesn't affect any other class other than Ash Blast, Overheat, Pyro, really, because they have that amazing clear. But my good friend Dude with a Blunt actually figured out that this spawn in the back area here, you know how they slowly trickle down throughout the fight? It is time gated. And what does that mean? It means that at around 14.5 seconds, 14.5 seconds is when the last add will spawn. So if you time that Ash Blast Overheat, you can actually go ahead and clear all of the adds, right? While your teammates just have to focus down Dr. D and the 2 captains. Or if you're playing solo, you can go ahead and do like 2 rotations and, with that math timing of 14.5 seconds, you can actually clear the whole room and have just like a very sexy clear of that last room. I'm getting into a little bit of like the speed running strats here, but I figured I should mention that because it is interesting that, in a certain scenario like this one, it doesn't matter how fast you kill Dr. D or the captains or what you do with the cutthroats, that these spawns are time gated, meaning the last add that will spawn will happen at around 14.5 seconds. And if you do that sexy clear, it's extremely satisfying and extremely gratifying as well. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and focus more about the fight that is going to ensue with Dr. D and what you can expect. Now, Dr. D is going to spawn with his 2 captains. However, Captain to the right here, the Anomaly Captain, kind of decides when he wants to spawn, and this is all RNG as well. Usually, you'll have Dr. D spawn immediately with his Captain to the left, and depending how Captain to the right is feeling, is really going to be RNG. He can either spawn right away with the second captain or take like an extra 5 to 6 seconds to spawn, which can be a little bit annoying at times. The only thing to really look out for this fight, aside from, the whole bunch of riflemen that are in the back area here, is Dr. D and what he can do. So Dr. D has like 3 special moves in a sense, right? He has his 2 turrets, one that does damage, one that is the freeze turret, and he has this charging move which will legitimately fuck you up, and has gotten me killed more times than I can count when I was learning this map. Now, the turrets are easy enough to take care of, right? If he ever drops them, you can hear a sound cue for him dropping them, and my recommendation is if you hear that turret drop, kill it immediately. It's super extremely to kill, has really low HP. This is both for his damage turret and his freeze turret. Now, if it's not in like a good location for you to kill those turrets, just kind of like move around throughout the fight. But I do want to recommend that it is extremely important, if you can kill the turrets, to kill the turrets. But sometimes it's okay to leave them up and just focus on Dr. D. It's kind of going to be on the situation. Now, the only other thing to worry about is, other than his turrets, are going to be his charge move. Now, this can be easily avoided just with a dodge roll, but sometimes it can knock you out, and during the stagger, you're probably going to get killed by the ads back here or the random cutthroat just running at you. Regarding the strategy on how you want to handle this Dr. D fight, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys figure this out on your own, because like I always say, practice makes perfect, and with every death, hopefully you learn something about the fight and how to handle it differently, depending on which character you're playing the next time around. I'm going to have full links down below in the description of this entire map for Boomtown, so be sure to check that out as a handy little guide that you can have on your phone or, you know, on your second monitor, etc., etc. Once again, huge shout out to the boy Halo, full links down in the description below as well. And as always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video. Maybe give me a comment in the comment sections down below if you want to have a suggestion for a new map that we go ahead and kind of do this map hacking expedition series with. So I'll be looking forward to see what your guys' thoughts are on what map we may tackle next. But as usual, hit that notification bell as well. I'll always be live on twitch.tv/PlatoBear around 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every single day. Hope to see you all there. And as usual, until next time, peace.